The content of this podcast episode comes with a warning. Please note, this podcast episode may touch upon the subject matter of suicide, as is discussed in the book The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. If you or someone you know is currently considering suicide or is in a crisis, please contact 1-844-437-3247. Sometimes reading the book isn't enough. We want to be immersed in an idea or feeling. That's why at Book Interrupted, we've made a playlist for each book cycle. Visit www.bookinterrupted.com to find playlists for each book cycle and member. Or check out our YouTube channel. What's on your playlist?
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
I love a Riddler. Well, not on me. I like to watch someone else be riddled.
Yeah. I was so mad at the librarian, like, let her go. This poor soul is suffering, you monster.
Yeah, I'm a hard lesson person.
Yeah.
Are you saying we need to be thankful for our adverse experiences?
Guess my Midnight Library would probably be a wine cellar. And then she does something and he puts up the movie Betrayed. And she's like, oh no, Vincent.
Like that's always a bucket list of mine is to go to the Olympics. So that would have been cool to actually be in the Olympics, you know, to see how far you could have taken it. But
mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Trying to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. If you'd like to join along, this book cycle is from May 30th to July 10th. It's our fan Virginia's book pick, and we're reading Midnight Library by Matt Haig. A dazzling novel about regrets and all the choices that go into a life well lived. Would you have done anything different if you had a chance to undo your regrets? Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion.
hey, I want to get all of your perspective on the librarian, Mrs. M, too. What did you think about her? What do you think her role was?
Says the Reaper.
Says the Reaper, let her die.
Leo thinks she should just let her die already.
Yeah, totally. She was too nice. She kept her around for too long.
I thought the end was interesting, right? How she found her in the nursing home and what, you know, she was saying about her own life. How, you know, she didn't live her life to the best that she thought she could. So what's your perspective on her?
I liked her.
Yeah.
I don't have anything really too deep to say about it. And I just liked her as the main person she kept going back to. I liked that she was the nurturing figure from the very first time she remembers feeling, I guess, chaos and out of control because her father died, and that's who comforted her. But I liked that character. I did not experience the feelings that Leah experienced for her. I liked her. I like that she was kind of like Jedi mastery or whatever, you know what I mean? Like wouldn't give the direct answer, but would answer questions with questions and whatever. I like that kind of.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
I loved it. I loved her too.
I was like,
I like
okay,
that.
Riddler.
Yeah,
this
totally.
is actually physically painful for me.
I love a Riddler. Well, not on me. I like to watch someone else be riddled.
Yeah.
I prefer to have the answers given to me as well.
That kind of riddling.
It was like she was a
life death coach, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I'm not going to give you the answers. I'm going to help you walk down that journey.
Right. Why don't you read this book?
I think she was a nice commentary on the importance of kindness and the impact of kindness in life. So it was nice that the person that was her librarian was this symbol of kindness to her. And so you wonder about other people going to the library and who their face of the library or the video store or whatever is, was kind of like a nice and subtle lesson about how a small kindness can make a huge impact in someone's life. Yeah,
totally. When we are finished talking about how we felt about the librarian, I would like to see if we can guess what our libraries would be. Because you like, it could be a video store, it could be a whatever.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah.
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 I love the librarian as well. Again, like to the previous points, would I appreciate it for myself? Oh, I would effing lose it. I'd just be like, just tell me. But to read about her being like the Riddler, that was great. And Meredith, to your point, I agree. I feel like the librarian represented a symbol in some ways of the kindness and compassion, but I also feel she was a huge signifier of part of the medicine that perhaps Nora needed, which was social health.
And self-kindness.
Yes, that was on the decline for Nora and may have contributed towards her decisions around choosing to end her life. The little bits that we did get prior to the main character deciding to take her life, we were getting glimpses of how there was a social deficit in some ways. And so I liked how the librarian kind of signified that Nora could start to feel better and perhaps have a life that isn't filled with so many regrets if she also starts to include more close individuals who she can really connect with, who are compassionate, who actually demonstrate that they want to understand her.
Well, there's like a weird chicken or egg thing too, because like when you're talking about the librarian in that way, I think about the person that she ended up with, the guy that originally told her that her cat was dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. Like
Ash.
that's another example of kindness. Did Nora not feel like she deserved that and therefore she didn't pursue those kinds of relationships? Or
I don't know.
and then that's kind of another symbolic, once she got the shift, then she pursued what was actually going to be good for her. I don't know if I like that phrase I just said, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I would love to know if the author did this much research about depression and about all of these things. To me, it felt like maybe he didn't, but maybe he did. And that would be great. I feel like we're going into more depth about her backstory than I felt like came through in the actual book.
That's why I make that
for
fiction
sure.
nonfiction distinction,
Yeah.
because I feel like he was just writing a fiction. His point was kind of about perspective and the regret, like I like our discussion. I think we sound really great, but I think that he was just writing an interesting fiction.
We're so clever.
Yeah, totally.
Not that there's anything wrong with that,
No, exactly.
but
I think that's one of the reasons that he specified in the book situational depression. To me, that seemed like an obvious choice to try to not get into the nitty-gritty of mental health as much.
Well, he could get canceled, right? You're victim blaming.
Well, the doctor says it's situational, right? And so I think that was a conscious choice to make the book less about mental health and more about perspective, although they're intertwined. Sarah, do you like the library?
Oh, me? Oh, I like the
you didn't say
librarian.
anything.
Yeah, the librarian. I felt that I would react like Nora did. I think she was the perfect person for Nora because when she sent her back and her cat died anyway, I feel I would have reacted that way. Like, why did you send me back and she died anyway? And she's like, well, no, you know. And I'd be like, hey, you, but thank you. Next life. Right? I like that. I like those kind of lessons, but I'm the type of person that needs that kind of lesson, like a big slap in the face, be like, oh,
The hard lesson.
yeah, I'm a hard lesson person. So I'm like happily going through my life until I get it over. And then I'm like, oh.
I've been actively avoiding that lesson for years.
Sometimes it takes a couple goes.
Not now,
I
please.
don't want to learn that lesson. Can I just be blissfully unaware?
I changed my mind.
true, Sarah, you learn big lessons. When things happen, they are huge. And then you learn them.
It's like the ultimate conflict avoid, right? Like it's an inner conflict. And she's like, I'm not doing this with myself.
I'm not going to learn that.
And the universe is like, yes, you are.
Totally.
Yeah. So I like the librarian because I could relate. Like those are the kind of lessons I need.
Oh, I have an interesting idea. What if the librarian is supposed to be a piece of her personality? Right? Like now that the library
I believe she is. Yeah.
Right. And that's the part of her personality she was meant to develop, because that's the voice inside of her that was too quiet that led her to the situational depression having such a dramatic effect on her.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I would say the majority of the book is an exploration of the different aspects of Nora.
Yes. I solved it.
We sound so smart.
Oh, I didn't see it that way at all. No.
I don't know.
No, I didn't take it that way at all. I felt
Well,
like
you didn't even finish the book, Leah.
Well, I'm not done yet.
She will.
But now I know what happened.
Right at the end, you'll see it is.
Okay, but I the whole time just like this fucking bitch is holding her in what I thought was like a purgatory.
Totally.
The only thing poor Nora could do to get some control in her life was take her own life, which is terrible and brave in the same thing. And she then ends up in this purgatory and she can't even do that right. I was so mad at the librarian, like, let her go. This poor soul is suffering, you monster. I was like, this is clearly a hell.
I love how you're living the story through Nora at the beginning of the book, because that's exactly how Nora feels at the beginning of the book. Like, you've got so much empathy for Nora.
Yeah, and I was like, this is some kind of version of hell.
Yeah.
That's right. She needed to go through it.
This was not a happy place. Yeah, like I was like, let her go.
But it would make sense if the librarian represented a part of her personality, because as Nora's learning her lesson, she can't tell it to herself yet until she learns it, right? Maybe that's why the librarian's not telling her. She's like, think about this.
Maybe Kim is right, because in the beginning, the librarian is kind of meaner to her, and Nora is mean to herself in the beginning, right? Kind of harsher to herself. But by the end, the librarian's kind of softer to her while she's learning the lesson. So maybe you're right, Kim. Maybe it's like her inner voice, because she softens to herself, like her inner voice, even though she's still learning lessons, is a little bit kinder by the end.
Yeah, and her library is like, I guess, like her brain. So like that, as that destructs, it takes the librarian with it. But I feel like it all just destructs into her essence. I have two things to say. Leah, I'm sorry about almost shaming you for not finishing the book. I didn't mean that.
Oh no, you're doing a slow reader shaming.
I feel bad. So I'm sorry.
No, I also don't commit to it as much as I
Take
should.
all of the time you need or don't finish it at all, because that's the rules here. And two, I'm concerned about saying that suicide is brave. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it. I just want to say that. I don't want to dissect it or anything. You know what I mean? It's very.
I can maybe speak to that too.
I think that's fair. Maybe we shouldn't go down this road for the sake of the trigger warning of the podcast, but I have a different perspective about it. That's all.
I feel like it's.
Yeah. But I think it's fair to not talk about that if that's too intense.
I think we should talk about it. I just want to express that that's my concern, because I don't know if bravery is the nail on the head kind of word. I know what you're trying to say, because it's a scary final, thing. I'm not sure that I feel comfortable identifying it as a brave thing.
I think that if you change the reasoning behind why she killed herself, you could apply bravery to it. So let's say she's been diagnosed with early Alzheimer's. This could come down to, this is a euthanasia issue. For me, it's like about thinking about, do you think depression is? Do we feel that it could be a disease? And it's your life. You can fuck your life up however you want. You can put all the drugs in it. You can keep all the drugs out of it. You can kill it. You can hurt it. You can burn it. It's yours. I'm not saying that it's not a selfish act, but that's your body. You can be selfish with it. And I think if you're hurting, it could be brave. Why you're hurting is maybe situational. Maybe it's a slow, long cancer, and that's the most merciful thing to do for you and your family.
So I agree with the right to die, right? Like I do agree with that, but I'm not sure why I feel compelled to draw a line with the right to take your life if there isn't some kind of terminal, you know what I mean? Some predictable pain and death coming. But I mean, you could argue that depression is super painful too. So now I don't know what to say.
Well, certainly the euthanasia laws have left depression out of it. So,
but either way, I'm not sure it's brave.
I think brave also just has connotation, right?
Maybe
like we
brave is the wrong
tend
word.
to
That's fair.
associate bravery with almost like heroic acts. I'm not in disagreement with Leah. I just don't think that I think we're in the ballpark of the word, just maybe not brave. I think it would take a tremendous amount of courage to go through with and also not go through with deciding.
Courage might be a better word. Courage could be the better word.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even saying I respect the courage of it.
I just think it would take a lot of flexing to be able to do it.
Chutzpah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you'd really, I don't know.
What I thought this book did a nice job, or the author did a nice job of, is showing the impact that Nora had on other people's lives and why they need her to be alive as well. You know, that kid where she taught piano to, and without her impact in his life, he went down a bad road of, you know, crime and whatever. He turned out not to be a good kid. And then also, like, her brother, in a certain way, he also, you know, got into some addiction issues and stuff. So I thought it was a nice reminder that you don't always know the impact that you have on other people in your life or in this world. And so people need you in their lives for one reason or another. So I think that was a nice message that came through as well.
Right.
Yeah, I
that
guess,
you could be kind of the antithesis of someone else's regret.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a very good summary.
That's great.
Back on the brave thing.
Just like that.
I feel like what I think I know, so I could be totally wrong here. What I think I know is that when someone dies by suicide, it's often because they think that they're doing everybody else a favor. I will get out of here because I'm such a whatever to everybody else.
They're better off without me.
Right. And so I'm going to help them out. And that's actually a flawed way of thinking. And then they die by suicide because their depression has taken them to that point. And so that's where I don't see the bravery, because it's not about something courageous. It's about, I don't want to, like, it's like desperate.
But it's like when you say that you're ranking deaths, how you die. Is it any less traumatizing if she got hit by a car? It traumatizes the same people.
Well, in talking to strangers, right, we learned that when someone on a path towards suicide is interrupted, 9 times out of 10, they don't actually complete the suicide, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, that speaks to their actual confidence in their decision to do it, right? Like it sounds like it's a situational reaction to a despair. And so that's why I make that distinction.
I think there's too many things.
If you're going to die in a car accident, you're going to die in a car accident. If you're going to die from cancer, you're dying from cancer, right? It's not something you could change. Many people who are dying of cancer probably would like to change that. But for the fact that they can't change that, for sure.
But like, we're doing things to ourselves to kill ourselves all the time.
It's just some is long and drawn out,
but they're not
some
brave.
is instantaneous.
They're not brave.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's the like, right? Like I'm not. Yeah, of course we're drinking, we're smoking, we're taking risks. Like yes, all of that. But when someone dies by suicide, it's usually because they've gone so deep into a despair that they feel like this is the only way, and usually it's going to help the rest of the people around them. They're going to do a favor for everyone. And that's why
I don't think we can jump to that conclusion.
Well, that's what the people who have not died by suicide say was their thinking at the time.
I think that they would love another alternative. It's just that they don't see that there is another alternative. So even if an individual is going through with this,
who are we talking about? Who are they?
People who are considering suicide. I would just want to say, to finalize my point, is that the reason I want to caution against calling it brave is that if someone is in that despair point of view and they are thinking of suicide, and then it gets qualified as something honorable and brave, then I fear that that could be their final reason that they make the decision. Whereas we might want to say something closer to Virginia's point, which is, don't forget about the impact that you have on people. You're not actually doing them a favor by removing yourself from this experience right now. That's the whole with saying brave for me, is like, oh, I don't want to potentially give someone the wrong idea. That's all.
Yeah. No, I think we all can agree that brave's the wrong word.
Okay. Okay. I will leave this dead horse alone then.
So the person who recommended this book to me is the friend of mine. She's a psychotherapist. So I wish she was here that she could weigh in on this conversation.
Yeah,
as
what
well.
she thinks about all of that.
Yeah, my Jean's pick.
I have some news about Jean's picks.
Oh, what's
What?
this?
I was doing the show notes for the first episode. And the one that Elaine that liked all the movies was Vincent's pick. So the kid is Vincent, and then she does something and he puts up the movie Betrayed. And she's like, oh no, Vincent.
And where
then
did Jean's picks come from?
And then Vincent's picks goes away. She's like, what happened to Vincent's picks? He's like, Vincent's not making picks anymore. He's like, but we have a wide selection of Jean's picks.
Yes.
Oh,
So Jean's picks are actually not good, right?
She's the one she doesn't want. Vincent.
They're like actually not her fit.
So, and then Elaine's like, Jean is crap.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, he's like, I'm Jean. But she has to pick a Jean's pick because Vincent's picks aren't there anymore or whatever.
And then Vincent's that kid
Who's like the
Yeah.
15-year-old kid. Yeah. That's
Anyway,
so
I put
funny.
a
remember
I put a
like
little
that.
clip on the show notes if you guys want to like.
I'll totally go check that out.
Great. Yeah.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, we went on about but Jean's picks, it rolls off the tongue more than Vincent's picks. Like Vincent's picks is
It's
hard to
sticky,
say.
right?
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I feel like you should take over the show notes. You sound like you did way more
Oh.
effort than me. I don't mind. It's
On
okay.
the spot.
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book interrupted.
Okay, because I have been quite indulgent in the air quote interruptions, aka complaints, I thought I would make sure that I spent time also giving a gratitude interruption. Today I spent my day at the beach with my family and it was wonderful. We played dominoes, we went swimming, we threw the football around, it was beautiful weather, and I don't think I could ask for anything more. So, this interruption is brought to you by Bliss.
Book interrupted.
Did you guys notice in the book, did the author explain, you know how Nora will slip into the other Noras when she's in other lives? She slips in. Where does the consciousness of this Nora go in the interim?
I think he says that they just forget. They don't quite realize what's happening, but they vaguely have the memories when they come back.
Would the consciousness temporarily slip into the ethers?
Well, you're describing it as like two separate souls.
Yeah.
Right? But it's all Nora.
Oh.
So there's not another Nora to go away, even though there is another physical Nora. It's just like a shell she can assume.
Got it. It's not a one replaces the other.
It kind of is, but it kind of isn't.
Can we
I don't
talk
like
about
that no backstory. Yeah, I don't like
Mm.
that she didn't know anything, that she'd go in and have to research her own life.
Wasn't it
I wish-
uncomfortable?
Yeah, I
I
feel
just
like there
wish-
should have been a thing where she like
She had some
had
memories.
a rush. Yeah.
Yeah, that all of a sudden she remembers everything and then she goes forward. I didn't like that she had to research everything and be like this moron. being
Yeah,
like,
that was stupid.
It made me feel anxious.
Did it push the plot somehow? Like to make that decision? I mean, I guess she had to figure things out.
Of course you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed in a life that you're not living, that you like get plunked into some kind of somebody else's life. And then you're like, oh, well, this isn't what I thought. Well, you don't know their whole backstory. You don't know the love story of you and the husband and how you got there. You don't know your child's life.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Like having to
obviously
go to
gonna
bed
think-
with a stranger and being
I
like,
know.
maybe when talking about fantasy books or fiction, we have to treat it more like it's a movie. Like you have to have that suspended disbelief
yes.
more. Because it's
Totally.
like we're like really applying a lot of logic to something that we just have to like pretend it's a movie.
Enjoy.
Yet no one is
Just enjoy
questioning
it.
this
Yeah.
library.
Yeah.
We're also
Suspended
just
our
disbelief to that.
Yeah.
Maybe the point is that you're supposed to end up where you began, though. So if it was too easy, maybe you wouldn't get as many lessons.
Yeah.
Are you saying we need to be thankful for our adverse experiences?
You
should.
no.
Well, you should.
Maybe I am. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I feel like they did talk about that the most in that last life she had with Ash, where they did seem to talk more about where did the other Nora go? And when the Nora came in, how remember Ash was saying something like she seemed a little bit different, and that when she was leaving that life with Ash and her daughter Molly and the dog, which I thought was interesting symbol, and not the cat, that they were saying that she was saying they're going to be okay and they're going to be taken care of, and then that's why she was okay to go. So they did sort of talk about that. I found the most. It still wasn't like a definitive explanation of where did this other, Nora go into the ether, but they did mention that there's difference in terms of like personality as well.
I have 2
I
questions.
like the idea that she's going around like fucking up all these other lives. and like
then,
what if like one of those other Noras later on
Yeah.
ends up in the library and their only one big regret is that thing that the other Nora fucked up.
Yeah,
Remember when
which
I
they
did
would
that?
think they
That's
did.
way too Matrixy. I can't even.
That's
handle it.
awesome.
My brain doesn't. It's like anyway.
That's
What
a
do you
good
think
sequel.
the dog over the cat symbolizes?
Just more that maybe that life wasn't for her, because in the book it did seem like the cat was quite prominent in her life and in her desire for this happy version of a life, and then all of a sudden she's in that version with Ash and her daughter. It seemed idyllic, but she had the dog Plato, right? So
Yeah.
I think there was a nod or a nod that it's not the right life for her. That's
Okay.
what
I think we should.
Can
Kim's
I
question.
add a thing to Kim's question?
Yes.
Can
Yes.
it be
Do
what
it.
would be your library? And also, if you could pick a channel of some kind of life that you could have lived, like the best thing that you would think, like making a different decision, what you would pick?
Hey, oh my gosh. No, okay, great.
No, it's good. It'll be
Is that too much? I just think
It's good.
that'd be
Let's
fun.
go on an exploration.
as long as nobody's like, I wish I had a different husband.
Yeah.
Okay, who's going to go first?
I feel like I need other people's answers before I can get my juices
Okay,
flowing.
I'll go because I think this
Okay,
is
Mary.
have one.
number
Great,
one.
good.
Mine would probably also be a library. It sounds not
Mhm.
creative at all, or like a used bookstore or something.
Mm.
Like I read a lot and I like to write as well. So like, I think that would be, I could just see myself in the library, but like spending the rest of eternity in a library sounds great.
You'd never pick a life.
I never just read all the lives. And then sometimes, I don't know if I want to call this regret, but sometimes I wonder where my life would have gone if I had worked harder in school, spent more time studying and less time partying.
Studying
An
what?
engineer.
not
What?
just
How much harder
like,
could you
She
try?
wants to be in NASA.
like,
Right?
what? And not just university, but like high school. Didn't go to high school a lot. I did well because I'm good at learning on my own. So I just like learn it and do the tests and stuff. What if I had tried to get the best marks I could? And
You
got,
had
like, a
the best
scholarship?
marks you could, though.
No, I didn't. Totally slacked off. What if I could get 100% in everything? Where would I have been? What kind of like scholarships would I have got? What school would I go to? What kind of career would I have? It'd be interesting to know if I decided to like try to tap my full potential, where I would end up.
Where do you think
Okay.
you'd end up? Like Nora wanted to be, or she thought she wanted to be a glaciologist. Or is there an end job that you would have wanted to potentially attain in this?
Like, do you
version of
ever
your
think
life?
about being a doctor?
I want to do everything. No. I
Like,
don't
would
wanna
you
do
be able to cut people open?
Yeah,
that. Oh yeah, I could do that, but I don't think I'd be interested in it.
I could do. That's only if I was going to be a serial killer.
Yeah, I've been doing that in the woods after the kids go to bed.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if you want to go down this road.
Virginia, so just so you know, my sister is a professional chemical engineer, so it seems a bit, what are you getting your PhD in something? Is that what? Like, what are you missing?
I did read that. I was on the Book Interrupted website, which is fantastic. So for anyone listening to this podcast, go on that because it was interesting getting to know, having some backstory on the wonderful women. So I did see that. So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you're already like way up here. So I don't know, I guess the
What
NASA
would it
level
get
is
you?
that.
Well, are you going to the moon?
I had a high school English teacher who wanted me to go to university to be a writer. She wanted me to become like an author. And I was like, no, I'm going to engineering. But maybe I could have, I don't know. It's not really a regret. I think I could still write.
I
I'm just
feel
too
like
lazy to
your
write a book.
author identity would have happened if you partied more. I don't think that you would have been encouraged to be creative and do something so irresponsible as go into writing if you were like getting hundreds since grade 9 or whatever.
I'm getting your message. You're saying that if I want to write a book, I got to start partying more again.
Correct.
Thanks, Kim.
I think you need to increase
Yes.
your.
Hit up Leah for the psilocybin.
Then you'll have something to write about. If you
If you
remember.
put all the micro doses together, you could make one hell of a dose.
A macro dose, if you will.
All right, who's next?
I'll
Yeah,
go.
great. Right, let's go.
Only because I'm full study mode right now, but I think that I guess my midnight library would probably be a wine cellar.
Oh, yes, totally.
Right?
And you
Each
drink the
bottle-
stories?
Oh, that'd be amazing. I get drunk while I'm like,
Each one's a drunken.
I want to go to your library.
Yeah.
this life's amazing.
That would be fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah.
You have a sip of wine and then you go into the life?
Yeah.
That'd be
great.
sweet.
You'd be like, this one tastes.
This is a 1980 vintage.
The 1980s.
What's your ultimate varietal of wine? Like, what would be like that?
Oh my gosh, you can't ask me that. I like
Top
everything.
3.
Well,
your
right now,
current
because
fave?
it's summer, I'm obsessed with Mosel Riesling, so German Riesling, dry Riesling, a little bit of residual sugar, beautiful outside on the patio, that kind of thing.
Very summery.
But yeah, for the summer,
Very nice.
I could name every situation a different wine. So
God, I want to drink
Wow.
with you, Betsy.
I could tell you all about it. What I'm now in the like
Yes.
brain mode of like I can tell you what vintages of what Barolos are good and what like
That's so cool.
and the producer that started the whole thing. Oh, just my brain is so full.
We should do a wine pairings with Lindsay episode where each of us has like a meal that we're like, this is my meal. And then she like pairs a wine with it. But like, what would you pair with my pad thai?
Yeah, for off the shelf.
Yes.
I could pair a wine with the books.
Pair a wine with the
I should do a little thing about with
Do
this girl,
it.
You should have this wine.
You should do that.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
All right, okay. I'll try
You
to come up with
must.
one for the Midnight Library and
Or just for
Yes.
the season. You know what I mean? Like maybe you could make a wine list for season 1 and like
Oh,
a
that'd
wine
be
list
fun.
for season 2. So you don't have to do it like every week, but like there's a
yeah,
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah,
it.
great.
Okay.
Let's do
I'll
that.
work on it after my
Super cool.
exams for
a
sure.
wine pairing
my
with the
gosh.
books.
Can you
I love
fit
it.
Pinot Noir in there somewhere?
Yeah, I do love.
This
Pinot
would be
Noir,
a
too.
Pinot Noir for sure.
And I think it's
dark.
an interesting grape.
Midnight
Yeah.
library.
Midnight Library.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Ooh.
It's the Heartbreaker, right? Isn't termed the Heartbreaker wine?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Love it.
That's it.
Okay, I'll
I
fit
love
it in.
that.
I
I'll
love
fit
it.
in for sure. Tina
Exciting.
Noir.
Wonderful.
A pairing for each book that you guys do in Book Interrupted. You
It's like, how do we
pair
not think
a
of this
wine with
sooner?
each book.
Kelly, we
Great
have to
idea.
do a food with it, and you could be like, "Here's the menu for the Midnight Library."
Yeah.
Just so we could like do the
Yes.
reci or whatever.
You do the
Maybe that's too much
playlist,
work.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the playlist, but
Oh
but
my
here's your pairing of
God.
food and wine while you're
Yeah.
while you're reading this book.
Great.
The music for your mouth.
And then what's your
Any
regret?
regret?
What's your
Yeah.
undoing?
Well, you all know I don't have really regrets, but I mean, similar things to kind of what Mare said. I always think it's like, what if I'd become a doctor? What if I'd become, but then I also think, what if I'd stuck with competitive swimming and been an Olympic, just the same as what Nora did? And then I think, oh, well, what if I'd become a famous movie star and stuck with acting when I was in high school? Or what if I'd written that book and done that? So for me, I can think of like 20. I wish I could just transport myself to all these lives and be like, what would it be like? But I wouldn't
Taste
be
all
doing it
those
because of
wines.
regrets. Huh?
Yeah,
just for
just
fun.
curiosity.
Yeah, just
Mm.
curiosity.
What could
I
I have done?
I love the idea. I wish that we could just all live our lives like that. Like, oh, I feel like pretending like I'm famous movie star today, and then you live it, and you're like, oh, that was fun for a day, and now I can go back to my normal life. And
I thought it was interesting in the book, the big regrets were bigger volumes too, right? So maybe for you, it would be the swimming parts too, would be the bigger volume, so those are the ones you'd like bang
Yeah,
off first, right? Like
maybe.
try out those lives first or something
Yeah.
like that.
The biggest
Yeah.
bottle of wine.
Yeah, the Magnum.
No, the
Maybe more
Jeroboam that we
expensive.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She brings
Full
out the
barrel.
box of wine.
Yeah, box of wine.
I have a feeling she was not.
No, not
Time to
very
write a book.
often.
There's a straw in the barrel.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
in the whole barrel.
yeah.
Amazing. It could be like a wine cellar with barrels and aging things and
So cool.
Okay, who's next?
Okay,
Who's
well,
next?
I can go next.
Yeah, do
So
it.
I think mine would be a bakery.
Yeah, I knew it. I
Ooh.
knew
Because
it.
my
Mm.
first job was at a bakery and I was super shy, and the woman who worked was the manager was kind of like the librarian for me, like trying to get me out of my shell. And then also I just love to bake. So I think it would be bakery. And then I always wondered if I didn't quit ballet. Like, I don't have a regret or anything, but when I was younger, I quit ballet. And I wonder if I just stuck with it, like if I would be a dancer.
We should also add on who would be your librarian.
The bakery lady.
The bakery
Yeah,
lady.
Margaret.
Yes,
for
but
me,
Meredith
Margaret.
and Lindsay, who are your
Oh.
librarians, or your librarian and your sommelier?
That's true, indeed. Does it have to be someone that you know, or could it be like a famous wine person?
That was supposed to be someone who like is
Had an
like your inner
impact.
kindness, right? Is this supposed to be
Yeah.
somebody who
Fair. But I
was
really
kind to
want
you?
this lady named Jancis Robinson to be she's a very
Got it.
famous wine critic. So I think that would be the coolest. I'd be fangirling. No. Yeah, I'm a geek. Okay, continue on.
I still can't think of one, but I'm going to say one I thought of that might be fun anyways. Mine would be a board game cafe.
Oh.
And so like you'd have to play different games, I guess. I'm not sure how it would work, but that was something I thought of, like that would be kind of cool. And something I'd be curious about is similar to one of Lindsay's, is if I was more serious about acting and theater or singing or whatever, like pursued that properly instead of just as a hobby. I think that my librarian or my board game cafe cashier would be my grade 11 law teacher. He was awesome, and I'd like him to riddle me.
What are your favorite board games? Like what?
I don't even really
what do you
like them.
gravitate?
I don't even care.
Oh.
It's a twist.
Very interesting.
I was not expecting that one at all.
Wow.
Okay, oh, maybe I should change it
music
to like
store.
an improv class, and it's a different improv game because I love improv games.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone, Kara, Leah, Virginia?
Yeah, Leah, you want to go first?
I'll go, but mine's a bummer. Like last time when we started
Oh,
talking about regrets,
stop.
mine it's kind of sad. So whatever,
Okay.
I'll keep it
Well,
short
let's hear
and
it.
sweet. Mine would be a bed. I love being in bed. I love sleeping. I like all of the things bed. So it'd be like, when you go to a hotel and it's like the perfect crisp white sheets and it just like
Yes.
feels so clean and almost smells like you can smell like the Clorox bleach they used on it.
Yeah, I love it.
And like big fluffy pillows and just the warmest, coziest place. And every time you go into new life, you go to sleep. Perfect. And then you just wake up. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I love it.
You're like the biggest bed and the tiniest bed.
So yours would be like a hall of beds. You'd have to like try out a bunch of different beds, like a Goldilocks.
Like a giant hotel
Yeah, every room in the hotel.
and different rooms.
Yeah. Maybe it's just all the different. I do love going to hotels. That's
Yeah, yours would be a hotel for sure.
Maybe.
Each room would be like a different
And
kind
you'd
of
be like,
Yeah.
this bed is a
room.
water bed. I hate it, or whatever. But you'd have
Ugh,
to
yeah,
and go to sleep
water
and
bed.
experience your life.
Oh yeah.
And your
Water
Mrs.
bed.
M would be the concierge.
Yeah, maybe. I
that's
was gonna
nice.
say my person would be Brutus the dog, who's hopefully not trapped in his own library, because he's just the best sleeping aid on earth. He just puts you right out. He's like, "Yep, it's time to go back to bed. Let's go."
No riddling. Would he talk to you?
Would he talk to you?
Sure, yeah, you could talk to me. Sure,
Great.
why not?
Awesome.
We're
Great.
playing
I love
Magic.
it.
Why not?
That should be a
We're
movie.
suspending our disbelief.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, you could talk. I don't want to go down the regret thing. It just gets too sad.
Okay.
Fair.
You don't have to.
A
Fair
solid pass. Fine.
Yeah.
It's funny, my older son today, they asked me if I had a superpower, what would it be? And it would be to sleep on command. Anytime, and get
Narcolepsy.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Right. But I've also come off a couple nights of bad sleep. I'm like, I just want to sleep. So
bad.
I might be joining your library, your bed hotel, Leah.
Come on down.
Yeah.
She's your
We can
concierge.
make this divorce official.
Yeah.
We can
We can
rekindle.
co-parent Bo.
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. Okay, I'll go. I definitely know that my version of a library would be a record store.
Ooh,
So,
Oh.
yeah, like with some
So-
albums, all in a row, and you could kind of decide, because I feel like music goes with different phases of your life and
Totally.
different situations in your life, right? Like when you feel sad and morose, you put on different music, or when you feel really happy,
Yeah.
you put on something
Great
else.
one.
So yeah, and my husband a few years ago got me a record player, and it's been great. There's something like really tactile with putting on the record, and you almost hear like, anyway, it's been pretty great. So I would make it a record store 100%. A regret, same kind of thing. I don't know. There isn't one, but I know that in, a million years ago, I was pretty good at a couple different sports. Well, trampoline was one of them. So that would have been cool to see where that ended up. Like if I didn't just quit it, just young and dumb and like, I'm just going to quit this now. So that would have been cool, kind of cool. Because then when I trained with her, she went to the Olympics. So like, that's always a bucket list of mine is to go to the Olympics. So that would have been cool to actually be in the Olympics, to see how far you could have taken it. But
what a fun sport.
yeah, and it was weird. Like it was kind of odd back then, right? Like there wasn't a lot of, but it's not like I'm not losing sleep over that one, but and
just jumping all the time.
Jumping
That's
while
always
crying. Keeping me up at night is thinking, I wish I
Jumping on the bed.
Jumping and crying.
You're in your backyard on a trampoline and all your neighbors see is your like head popping up and what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
Nice.
But I don't know who my librarian would be. That's the only thing I cannot.
That's the
I don't
hardest
know.
one.
Yeah, right.
What about that Olympian woman that you trained with?
Or your coach?
She was same
No.
age as you, right? Yeah.
Oh, she was? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can think about it for the fan episode. That's the hardest one, who the librarian is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you trust to guide you?
Yeah.
Afterlife.
That's true, right?
I just thought of my guide. I just thought of
Okay.
it.
Guide.
Okay, let's hear it, Kara. What's
Yeah.
your guide?
Okay,
Where are
can
you
I
going?
start with my guide?
Start with
Because it
whatever you
literally
want.
just,
Mhm.
I totally would want Clarissa Pinkola Estes for sure. I absolutely.
You don't know her.
Well, no, does it have to be someone that we know?
No, it doesn't.
Just take it. Just take it. That was the first book we did on the podcast.
okay.
Kara read it twice.
It's an author of the Women Who Runs with Wolves.
Women
book.
Who Run with the Wolves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely want her to be my guide.
Mm.
Although I don't know if she would fit. So my library would be the stage, like the theater or the green room, like just before you go on. And there would absolutely be a full assortment of makeup, different shoes, costumes. I would want
maybe it's your
different
wardrobe.
Oh, for sure. I would want the different scenes, like scenery and props, all to be within that space. So it would just be like an imagination wet dream. It would be like every option imaginable. Whatever life you want to make for yourself, whatever person you want to become, you would have everything available for you. And maybe instead of books or like bottles of wine, it would be like scripts. That would be wonderful.
That's perfect.
Yep. So Clarissa would be there. I think that's my library. And then what other, am I missing any pieces? to the
Regret?
question?
It doesn't have to
Yeah,
be
what-
regret, just another life you might want to try out.
Yeah, I think I'm mostly like you. It's more of a curiosity. I wonder what would, although I do feel myself gravitating back towards the theater, like I know that it's a coming, I can feel it. I wonder what would have happened if I did things in the reverse order. If I had continued with the theater and gone that route, would the psychotherapy and teaching components have met me? Yeah.
Cool.
Now my used bookstore is super lame, but I still love books.
No, but that's why I wanted to go last too, because I was like, everybody else is going to make me think of other things.
I was like, all of them are great, and then mine's like,
You can have the board game cafe if you want.
I do love board games.
You're like, I regret that decision.
Yeah, you can have my midnight library.
That's the life I want to live.
Maybe Mare is like the board game cafe, but I still feel like, Kim, you're in a cafe-esque. Like I see people like, reading the slow poems.
Ooh, maybe
at
mine's
night.
different kinds of tarot cards.
Like you have one of those like artisan
yeah.
cafes where there's like the different pop-up. You can buy these handmade bracelets, and then like this artist gets up on stage.
That's not my midnight library. So sorry.
No, Kara. She said a tarot card reading.
It would be really funny too, because like my grade 11 law teacher is not, as far as I could tell, esoteric in any way. Like he was very logical.
I don't know about these cafes.
So, yeah, totally.
How do I ethically feel about this? Yeah.
He's giving you a tarot card reading?
Yeah, he'd be like, I don't know what this means. What do you
It's
think
justice
this means?"
again. Justice again.
Justice again. Every card is justice.
What can I say?
Oh, that's
Justice.
funny.
Meredith, maybe yours is like an amusement park like Canada's Wonderland, and each you go on a different ride.
I want that one.
Good
It'd be
one,
hard though,
Sarah.
because you'd only want to go on the big ones. You're like, that ride.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
it's
you'd be
just
like,
a
I
small
hate
one.
the
I'd be like, that looks
teacups.
lame.
Spoken like a
I don't
true
like the
amusement
teacups.
park.
Sometimes you'd
person.
throw up.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Canada's Wonderland this year. My brother and his girlfriend, and my husband and I, and we're gonna leave the kids behind.
Oh, so then you're gonna do a true Canada's Wonderland.
We're gonna
trip.
get the bracelets so we can pass the line.
VIP.
We did it once.
Dude.
So for the family reunion, it was me and my husband and my brother. And we were like, okay, we're just gonna go to Canada's Wonderland quickly on the way to the family reunion. We got the bracelets.
Quickly.
We got one open.
that
and we
possible?
We went on the biggest one, the Leviathan. It was new,
Ooh.
like 15 times in a row, and found out that when you do that, it's like too much adrenaline at once. And so we were going to go again. But all of us were like, we're off the ride at this point. We're standing and we're so nauseous. We're like, I can't go on another ride. We got too excited. We wanted so many rides. So we're like, well, I guess we better leave now because everyone's going to throw up. And we had to drive to the family reunion. All of us were just like in the car the whole way for the rest of the day. I didn't know you could do that to yourself.
I didn't know
We're
that
gonna
this
do
was
it again this year.
possible.
Oh yeah,
I
you
didn't
could
know
do
it was
it after 3 times on the Gravitron at the carnival.
Oh, Gravitron though. That thing's
You will definitely vomit.
that's trap. Or
Really?
the Mind
That's my
Buster. Do you guys
max.
love the Mind
Ooh, I
Buster?
love
Yes,
I feel like
the
you get
Mind
high
Buster.
in it.
The Mind Buster, yeah.
The Gravitron is not at Canada's Wonderland, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Those are like
Every
those.
mall carnival
Yes.
that is worth going
At the
to.
X. Yeah.
Anyway, I do not regret my time on Leviathan. It was still great. One of the rides was in the rain though. It started raining and like, man, that's painful. It's like stones hitting your face.
Do you want to hear
This? No.
this one time though? When I was at Canada's Wonderland, I was on a ride. I think Kara, you were with me, maybe. Anyway, we were on that. It's called the Wild Beast, right? Or is it called the Wildebeest?
Yeah, the Wildebeest.
I think Wildebeest, yeah.
Mhm.
I was on that ride. I was in the front, and we hit a bird, a seagull or
No.
something. But it was so fast because we were going so fast, drive so fast that we didn't see us hit the bird. We just all of a sudden an explosion of feathers were all over us. And we're like, oh my
way.
God,
The
we're in
poor
the front. And then even the people behind us didn't know. It was just us. And we were like covered in feathers and it was very traumatic.
Oh.
We hit a bird. Awful.
Oh.
Anyway.
Gross.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com.
Thank you so much for listening and supporting us. Do you know you can also support us by wearing some of our kick-ass swag? Check it out at www.bookinterrupted.com/shop.
Moments you can look forward to on next week's Book Interrupted.
Made you read it. Made you read it.
I love when chapters are short.
Unless you were the writer with some children.
Yeah.
And you'd still be
That's right.
Never screw up. Always have like these great lessons to draw from.
The difference in the movie is that she can access all of her other lot.
I recommend it. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, it's not my favorite quality, but
So much color around it.
Not healthy, but it's
podcast.
Book Interrupted.
Never forget, every child matters.